Hello, Penguyen here with another Spirit on Lady video. I'm going to be making a video, or this video is going to be about my tier list, I guess, of what I think Spirit should be at, or how they do against level 6 adversaries. First off, I need to get rid of a lot of these tiers. Goodbye. Probably don't need an SS tier. Alright. So what does S would be? I think S is gonna be like how comfortable, or just being comfortable versus all adversaries, I think. That doesn't necessarily mean you win like every time, or even most of the time, but you win a decent amount and you're pretty comfortable playing against it. A is like decent versus all, or maybe you're comfortable against most of them, and only like a few of them are make the spirit struggle. B tier, I think it's more like okay versus all, or you're decent against most of them, but not all of them. And then C tier, I'm gonna say it's more like comfortable versus only a few of them, maybe, and it's like not really for solo play. All right. The first spirit, which is Rampant Green, I'm gonna put it straight up here in the S tier. I think Rampant Green can do very well against all adversaries. Let me look at the adversaries. Prussia, I know it can beat for sure. I've done it before. England seems doable. Sweden, for sure doable. France, for sure, has done it. Russia is the only iffy one. I don't know this matchup at all, but I'm just gonna assume that it's okay. And Sweden, or not Sweden, Scotland, yeah, should be fine as well. You just have so much presence acceleration in solo play with proliferating yourself, overgrowing yourself. It just, yeah, it should be fine. And you get a lot of energy eventually with your +3 energy and a power card growth option while putting out presence out. So yeah, green is great, and you can just prevent ravages from happening, or builds if you need to play against France. Next up is Bringer. I don't know if it would be a C. I think I need another tier. Maybe like a B- or C+ tier. Something like that. I don't think it should be down here, but it's because Bringer, you can make so much fear in the solo game. You just go through that fear deck so quick, but I'm just scared at level 6 adversaries. You just lose to lost conditions so quick, or you just have so many things blighting so quick, because you only have dread apparitions to defend, and that's kind of costly. I think it costs 2 energy. Then you have to rely on whatever major you pull from what's it called, dreams or something. Let me see what it's called. Bringer cards. Call on Midnight Dreams. That's it. So I don't know. It doesn't seem that amazing. I think on lower level adversaries though, like level 4 and lower, like this just goes whoop up there. A or S tier. And then even lower, like level 3 and lower adversaries, definitely S tier. You just burn through that fear deck so easily, and then you can just be defending like 1 land per turn. You don't care about lost condition that much, probably, at lower level adversaries. And then you don't take that much blight, probably. I don't know. I think you're fine against lower level adversaries. But level 6 adversaries, that's when it starts getting pretty rough. Like level 5, level 6. For Bringer at least. Yeah. Downpour. I think I'm putting that at S tier. Downpour, super strong. Prussia, it beats. England beats. Sweden beats for sure. France beats for sure. Habsburg is probably a beat. Russia, I've done it as before. Scotland, yeah, Scotland's no big deal for Downpour. You have Isolate, you have Isolates, that's all you really need, huh? But you have ways to kill your towns, cities. You have all this Dahan movement. It's completely fine. Finder, probably the first C tier now. It's a great support spirit. Not that great for solo, in my opinion. And probably a lot of people's opinion, because you lose presence when you destroy things. And energy. And your track it's kind of rough. It's pretty slow to start. And then things can just be on fire on your board in a few turns. Oh, whoops. The only doable ones I think are like Scotland and Sweden, probably. I think France and England you're gonna lose to the lost condition pretty much every time. Habsburg you might lose to the lost condition as well. The gathering is really annoying as well. Russia, you just got blight everywhere. And you might even lose to the lost condition, but probably not. Prussia, I don't think you can keep up with Prussia, especially with only one card play per turn. Or just not having energy. Like you have to choose between grabbing extra card play from your growth or grabbing energy or power cards. Like it's a little bit too slow to start because you start with 0 energy per turn and 1 card play before you grow anything, and that's just terrible. And Prussia's gonna be way too quick for you, I think. Alright, Fractured. I don't think it's a great solo spirit either. It's also a great support spirit though, and you don't really get to take advantage of your innates that well in solo. I think it's I think it's comfortable-ish against Sweden and France maybe, or I know France for sure because I've done it in Sweden, but I'm trying to look at the other ones. Prussia, it's gonna suck against Prussia. Habsburg, I don't think it'll do great against. Russia sounds like a nightmare unless you find like perfect cards in your Days That Never Were. Scotland, I think it can actually deal with. I never tried it myself though. England seems pretty hard too, but it might be doable. It depends on what cards you get in your Days That Never Were. The good thing about playing solo Fracture is that the pass returns again is only 1 energy in 1 time, and it's a great card to play in solo. But your port time sideways is unplayable, basically, and it's only used for elements, but it costs 1 energy, so it's not even worth it most of the time, in my opinion. Right, next is Trickster. I think it's pretty decent against everything. It's very comfortable against France and Sweden. It just trounces on Sweden and France. I can see it struggling against England because of the extra health, which makes Incite the Mob not as great as it could be. It doesn't have great options to just wipe out lands either, or generate that much fear, I feel. It's a little bit RNG, but yeah, you don't really go majors on Trickster ever, so yeah, there's not a lot of like explosive turns you can do. I can probably win against Prussia, maybe. Habsburg, it might struggle. Russia, it might struggle, but I think Russia is doable. I've seen it, I think. Scotland, completely doable. So I think it's like comfortable versus a lot of them and decent against the rest. Slash kind of struggles against England. But it's pretty strong. Wildfire. I think Wildfire is in here. Yeah. Wildfire is pretty rough to play in the solo sometimes. Against Scotland it can win. Habsburg it can definitely win. Sweden's extra blight is really rough, and also a lot of the other adversaries might make you blight early on, and then if you blight early without your spirit, like without you growing into it, and that's the reason why you blight, it's just gonna be really rough because you can't really deal with, like, you can't grow there anymore, or else you just cascade like crazy. And then if your whole entire island is blighted, then you just lose because you can't ever grow. So yeah, it seems pretty bad. And so Sweden starts with 2 blight already. That's already terrible. Sweden seems terrible. Prussia sounds doable. England, the extra health is actually sounds really bad to me. Because a lot of times when I play Wildfire, I just feel like I have exactly enough damage to deal with stuff. France might be maybe winnable. Scotland is Prussia actually winnable? I guess Prussia is winnable if your stage 3 card explores in the sand. So you can grow, kill off a explorer, fast phase, kill off hopefully an explorer in your starting sands, and asphyxiating smoke whatever gets built. Then grow in the 4th land next turn and kill the town? I don't know. It seems winnable, I think, so Prussia's probably fine. But everything else is, besides Habsburg and Scotland, seems really rough. And that's why it's like a B-/C+ spirit. For solo. At lower level, actually I'll talk about lower level adversaries later, but lower level adversaries, Wildfire, Bringer, way better. Keeper though, Keeper the Forbidden Wilds. Yeah, Keeper is gonna be S tier. Keeper is so strong. I think everyone knows by now that Keeper is super strong. It can win against all the adversaries pretty comfortably, I think. It might struggle a little bit against some like Habsburg and Russia maybe, but I know those are winnable. France is definitely winnable. I've done it before. Sweden definitely. England for sure. Prussia, I think it's winnable too against Prussia. Lightning, I think it's an S tier as well. Lightning is super strong, especially with, and then you have aspects too, like immense aspect probably, to change it up and deal with some other adversaries that maybe the base aspect is weak against. But yeah, Prussia. I think both base and immense can just deal with Prussia maybe at an okay rate, depending on what. It really depends on what major you get for immense though. But the normal base, it can definitely deal with Prussia. England, you can definitely deal because you just destroy buildings. You don't care about the extra health. Sweden's not bad either. France is not bad, I think. Habsburg could be annoying because you don't actually destroy the towns. You only do 2 damage to them unless they're immense with blight, so that could be annoying. Maybe immense might be better there. Russia seems pretty bad, but I've heard people say it's winnable, so I'm gonna trust them. It just seems bad to me because the Raging Storm is 3 energy, and that's the way you deal with explorers. So I don't know. Well, I was about to say that for France, Pandemonium aspect makes that super easy. You can just completely manipulate the Slave Rebellion. And Scotland, Lightning does fine as well. Alright, Lure of the Deep Wilderness. I think it's going to be an A tier because I think it's comfortable versus most. I think that Russia for sure, that's an obvious one. I think it's pretty comfortable against probably Sweden, Prussia, probably England. I don't know about Habsburg. I don't know about this matchup at all. Scotland is notoriously, I guess, the counter for Lure. It's like the arch nemesis because Lure, the Deep Wilderness, is only inland lands. It can't be coastal, and then Scotland's a coastal adversary. But I think it's still winnable. You can probably win Whether they go top track or bottom track, where you can probably win, I think. But it's not very comfortable, I think. Many Minds, though, also A tier. I think Many Minds is just a decent versus all and nothing really special against any of them. Just like a decent versus everything. Prussia, you can probably deal with Prussia. England has enough fear to deal with England. Sweden, you can just skip actions if you really need to. France, I've done that matchup before. Habsburg is the kind of the one that I'm not unsure about. Russia does okay against. The beasts are fine, so you never lose a loss condition, I think. Scotland is pretty decent too. So yeah, it's okay against, or decent versus all of them. Alright, Ocean I am putting in the C tier. Because Ocean, Ocean, it just, being so restricted to the coast really sucks. And I think at level 6 adversaries, you just lose to loss conditions left and right. With France, I feel like they're just going to be adding way too many towns, and then you can't deal with them in time. You can deal with England fine, I think. Prussia is going to be rough. Although Prussia, you can always just escalate the town into your coastal land probably and just eat it up. But you might just blight 3 times and turn 2 because of the stage 3 card. At the very least, you probably blight twice. That sucks. But it's not the end of the world. France, I think you lose to a loss condition probably. Sweden, you might lose to blight. That one depends as well. Habsburg, you might just lose to a loss condition as well, really easily. Russia, I think you probably just gonna blight all over your inland lands. It's gonna be a disaster. Just a cascading nightmare. But I think you can do pretty well against Scotland and England though. So, C tier. The energy you get for being only one player though is pretty nice. Alright, River, I'm gonna put in the A tier. I think it's just decent versus all. It's really good against France. Or maybe it's a comfortable versus most. It's pretty comfortable against Prussia. It's okay against England. Eventually you can kind of just manipulate the... Oh, but the problem is the fear. Now that I think about it, it might not be that great against England. You don't have enough fear, you're just gonna double build way too often. Sweden, I think it's fine. Habsburg could be annoying. You kind of have to time your pushes after the gather. Russia might be a little bit bad for River. You gotta be really careful on how you push explorers. Scotland, River does fine. Serpent is next. Serpent, I think it's pretty comfortable versus most adversaries. Prussia, it's fine because of Aegis. England, fine because it's Serpent. Sweden could be fine. It might depend on what minor you get or major you pull turn 2. France, though, you might just lose to the loss condition, which is what I'm afraid of for Serpent. Because you don't do much to kill towns early on, and you might just spiral out of control. But it's probably winnable, though. Habsburg and Russia are kind of also iffy to me. Especially because those two, you want Blight. And then Serpent kind of does not like Blight, because you can't add presence there. So you have to kind of reclaim and move there. Scotland, I think Serpent is fine as well against. Alright, Shadows. Probably foreboding Shadows. So I'll put that in the B tier. Prussia is winnable. England is probably winnable. I've heard people or someone beat England 6 as base Shadows, but it took him like 17 tries. So foreboding should be a little bit better than that. Sweden, I could definitely see that winning that. France. Calvin Explorer. Yeah, you can win that. Habsburg. Might be a little rough though. Russia does okay against. Especially with foreboding. Scotland probably does okay as well. Or decent. I think it does okay against like everything. But not amazing against anything at all. Fangs, I'm gonna put that in the A tier. Fangs really does a lot of damage. It's pretty explosive. Prussia, you don't mind that. You can just go bottom track against Prussia. England, you can probably just go majors. I don't know if you ever get enough beasts to wipe out like lands that much, so you may need to rely on a major for that. With beast events though, you probably have enough fear to deal with the double higher immigration stuff. Basically the England 6 effect. Sweden, I probably wouldn't want to play Fangs against Sweden though. Starts with a double blight. You will probably blight one of your first few ravages, so that's 3 blight already, and then you kind of just can't do stuff with all that blight everywhere. So yeah, France I think it does okay against. Habsburg it's probably a little rough too because you want blight for Habsburg, but it might be okay though. The loss condition is kind of scary though for Habsburg and Fangs. Russia I think it does okay against as well, and Scotland should be fine as well. So I think it's more like a comfortable with most versus around, or maybe decent against all, but more of a comfortable versus most. With Habsburg and Sweden being a kind of uncomfortable area. To me at least. And even England a little bit. Next up is shifting. I think shifting is decent against all of them. And it's a little bit luck of the draw on what majors you get. Your innate's decent because you just free defend. It can definitely beat all adversaries. But I wouldn't call it comfortable because it's really dependent on what majors you get. So I'll just say decent for now. Shroud. Yeah, I don't think Shroud's very good solo. The fear generation is nice, but it's pretty slow in my opinion. It takes a while before you get some good amount of fear farms going. And at that point I just rather play like Bringer. It needs a lot of help. So it's better in multiplayer games and co-op games. And then once you get past like the initial like hump, with some help from your teammates, you just start becoming a monster. I think once you hit like 2 or 3 levels of your first innate, you can just go around wiping stuff out. But yeah, it's such a slow start though, and the only thing you can stop one land from ravaging with Unnerving Paul, and then you don't even really want to get power cards that much early on, so like it's really rough. Okay, next up is Starlight. I think it's A tier. I think it's just decent against all of them. It's really flexible. You can just build your own spirit depending on the adversary, or depending on what just majors you get. Because I don't really care what adversary I'm facing, I just pull majors. But there's also a minor build. You can go for the minor build too. That's pretty viable. I've seen it before, and it works works out pretty well. I just like playing majors. That's why my favorite spirit's shifting. Starlight's like my second favorite, so they're both majors. Stones, Unyielding, Defiance. I'll put it in the A tier. I think it's decent against everything, or it's like comfortable against most. I think England is not that great for Stone. but it's not the worst. It's not amazing. Habsburg, it's fine. France is fine. Sweden's okay. I don't know if Stone's fast enough for Prussia. Russia is fine. Scotland's probably fine. It's kind of like England, Prussia, that it's like, yeah, I don't know about that one, but yeah, it's pretty comfortable versus like everything else. Thunderspeaker. Oh boy, Thunderspeaker, S tier, super strong spirit, wipes everything out, has defend, has the Han movement, has just free town and possibly city, unlikely though. Destruction with the nade. You can just strip to explorers and just deal with the land totally with one card. Like it's just so strong. And then you can just do like absurd amounts of damage with manifest. It's great mobility. Like it's just it's good. What else can I say? Yeah, Prussia, England, Sweden, France, Habsburg, Russia. Make the play a little bit different against Russia a little bit, but just be very careful with where your Dahan are and don't lose them or else you lose a presence. So Scotland's fine too. Alright. Vengeance. Is it a B tier? Is it A tier? I think Vengeance I wanna put it like I'll put it another tier. Maybe like an A minus B plus tier. And that's where I think Vengeance kind of belongs. I think it's a little bit better than Foreboding Shadows. It's pretty good against level 6 adversaries in general because you just take Blight. And you like Blight. Prussia's winnable. England's probably okay. I'm a little bit scared with the fear, but you can generate some if you get your disease in nice places. Kind of act like a mini Shroud. The disease is nice against the England lost condition. But your damage isn't that great against the extra health that they have. Until you get like your third card play. Sweden's probably fine. Yeah, because it has more blight. It has a lot of blights. Sweden's fine. Habsburg's fine. Russia's probably fine. France and Scotland, I have no idea. Scotland's probably fine too. You have disease to prevent lost condition, at least. Okay. I think Vital, if I can put a B tier. Especially with the might aspect out, you can even resilience maybe against like Russia. The might aspect just makes it a little bit, or even a lot better, especially as adversaries get higher and the 3 defend is meh. But yeah, I would like to say it's like maybe okay against all. Prussia is okay. England's probably doable. Sweden, depends on what majors you get as might aspect. Sweden's probably okay-ish. Kind of sucks though for base. But everything else probably fine. Both resilience and might. France, I think it does okay. Habsburg probably does okay / struggles with. Russia probably struggles with. Maybe resilience can do something about it, but I've never played resilience before. Scotland I'd beat with base. Probably beat with might aspect as well. Alright, last spirit. Volcano. Probably gonna put that in the A minus B plus tier. It does like decentish against all, and like a little bit worse against a few of them. So Prussia might be a little rough in the first few turns, but then I think it's okay. England is where I think Volcano's gonna struggle. The extra health will just like it's just really annoying for Volcano. Like Pyroclastic Bombardment plus Eruption and just to kill a city town, it's gonna take so much resources to do that. The city town combo itself is freaking 7 health. Like Pyroclastic is really bad against England. Sweden's completely fine. France, I think, will be fine. Habsburg could be iffy because it also kind of has extra health as well, so that one's a little bit rough as well, I think. Russia is pretty rough as well, I think. So maybe it's more like a comfortable versus most / some. So that's why it's like B plus-ish. Scotland, oh yeah, Scotland. Scotland Volcano also does well against, I think. Or can do well at least. But yeah. This is the list. I think with lower level adversaries though, a lot of these just get way better. Like Bringer, straight up to the S or A tier against lower level adversaries. Because you just generate so much fear, the fear card is going to be so helpful. And you don't have to worry as much about the loss condition and just like blighting out too much, I think. Because lower level adversaries are generally just way easier. And it's just the level 5 and 6 that I'm worried about for Bringer for most adversaries. Wildfire also gets a lot better too as adversaries get lower level. Probably also like around A tier. You can just wipe out your board so quick as Wildfire. It just sucks for some adversaries. At higher level they get like Sweden has an extra blight, which is really annoying. And then just higher level adversaries are probably more likely to just blight somewhere else, and then your board is going to be very annoying to deal with. These probably stay around the same at lower level adversaries. I think Shadows get a lot better. The Gather is really strong on lower level adversaries. And the Foreboding even stuff as well. Volcano probably goes into like the S tier versus lower level adversaries. You just wipe everything out so quick. Same with Fangs. But yeah, that is what I think. So this is the final tier list, I think. Something like this. I haven't played every spirit that much. Like I kind of play just a few spirits, not gonna lie. Looking at these spirits, it looks like I kind of play mostly the spirits at the S and A tier. I swear I try not to be biased, by the way. Otherwise I would put this at S. Pow. But yeah, this is my favorite spirit. Starlight's my second favorite. I think they're pretty decent though. But yeah, I could be wrong about some of the stuff because I don't play a lot of these spirits, like Shroud, like Bringer. Yeah, Shadows, Vital, I don't play those at all. Finder. I don't play Finder that much. I've only played like twice or 3 times. But I'm pretty confident it should be around in this tier list. In the C tier, that is. But yeah, let me know if you disagree on anything. What tier should, like what you change to the tier list. Or if you agree. But yeah, these are my thoughts. And I'll see you guys next time.